Hi, welcome back to the channel. My name is Lisa Elvin Staltari, and I'm a genealogist and a passionate traveler. Over the last year and a half, I have been featuring each fille mariée, really doing each woman her justice, because these are truly amazing women. So I wanted to explore les filles mariées in addition to the Filles du Roi, which is a concurrent series that I'm also doing. And today we're going to be featuring another fille mariée. But before we begin, let me show you ways you can support the channel. The first three keep you in the know. Subscribe, like, and notify. The next three are ways to help the channel grow. You can contribute through Ko-fi, through Patreon, and also through PayPal, which you can find on my website, Have Roots, Will Travel. Thank you so much for your support. Let's get started and get to know our fille mariée of this episode. The filles mariées between 1634 and 1662 were about 260 ladies who came to the colony and tried to help build a true country. Obviously, 10 girls per year, because that's what it averaged out to, is not enough in 28 years to build a country. But those girls who came and actually creative families are truly the grandmothers of Quebec, New France, and their filles du roi, les filles du roi, who came after them, are truly the founding mothers. But these ladies came to a place that wasn't even civilized and were absolutely brave and courageous to come. So we salute them. And let's have a look at our filles mariées of this episode. Today's episode, Les Filles Mariées, episode 61, features Catherine Hurault, and she is a viewer request. I do not have her in any of my files, so let's get to know Catherine a little bit better. Catherine was born in 1640 in La Flèche in France. Her parents were Jean Hurault and Guillemette Laroussière. Now, La Flèche is found in the Pays de la Loire section, a region of France, as you can see by the circle. And inside the Pays de la Loire, it is found in the Sarthe department. And you can actually see how big it is. There are about 15,000 people as of the last census. The church that she would have been baptized in on the upper right of your screen was built in the 12th century and rebuilt in the 15th and 18th centuries. It is the main church of this city. La Flèche is located on the Loire River. The origin of La Flèche, which means arrow in French, is that it dates back to the Romans. The first seigneur of La Flèche, Jean de La Flèche, built the original castle. And during the 16th century, Françoise, who was the Duchess of Alençon and grandmother to the future Henry IV, established a castle in La Flèche, where Antoine de Bourbon, King of Navarre, and his wife Jeanne d'Albret, future parents of Henry IV, resided in 1552. The castle was given to the Jesuits by Henry IV in 1604 to found the Collège Royal Henri le Grand, in order to select and train the best minds of the town. This castle that you see here on the right is now the City Hall and was originally built in the mid-11th centuries. Now, it was actually rebuilt in the 1450s, and the ruins of the keep of this period are still standing, with marks left by arrows on the drawbridge and battlements. I just wanted to point out to you that on the left side is the former staircase of the Hôtel Dieu that was in La Flèche. Guess where it is now? It is in the Hôtel Dieu in Montreal. So a part of France came to Montreal. I did not see it on my last visit. It's definitely on my to-do list. And so this is where Catherine was born and where she spent the formative years of her life. Now, we've talked many times about La Grande Recrue de 1653, which is the Great Recruitment of 1653. This is when the governor of Montreal, Pierre Chomedy de Maisonneuve, decided he needed more colonists. The colony was dying. So he went to France and recruited 100 people to come and establish themselves in Montreal to save the colony, essentially. He also enlisted Marguerite Bourgeois, who would go on to do so many great things in Montreal, notably establishing the hospital and the Congregation Notre Dame and all of that. But those 100 people were who saved Montreal. And you can see that Catherine Hurault was one of them that came. Now imagine, she's 13 years old at this time. So she is coming across to establish herself, and obviously either, I'm not sure if she was, intent on becoming a nun or she was going to get married. Remember, les filles mariées, their intent was to do exactly that. So, but Catherine is on that plaque. So that is an amazing, amazing thing. Let's go and join this journey. Let's find the groom that she selects and who selects her. His name was Jean Lemarche de la Roche, and he was born in 1622 in Paris, in the parish of Saint-Laurent. His parents were Jean Lemarche and Marie Blondeau. Now, the church of Saint-Laurent dates to the 10th century, was rebuilt in the 15th, and the facade, that you see exterior during the 19th century. But where it sits, it's really based on the fact that the Romans built this particular intersection in the 1st century BC, which, can you imagine? This has been laid out so that a church and people have existed since that time. Now, the 10th arrondissement of Paris is one of the 20 arrondissements of the capital city of France. It is known as Entrepôt, and it's situated on the right bank of the River Seine. This arrondissement contains 2 of Paris's 6 main railway stations, Le Gare du Nord and Le Gare de l'Est. Built during the 19th century, these 2 terminals are among the busiest in Europe. The 10th arrondissement also contains a large portion of the Canal Saint-Martin, which links the northeastern parts of Paris with the River Seine. It's just amazing how Paris is laid out, don't you think? Already seen this? Yes, Jean was on that same ship. So there's Catherine and there's Jean. Did they know each other? I doubt it. Did they get to know each other on that voyage? I have no idea. All I know is that they're both on that, and it's very rare. I mean, I don't think I've done one where they both arrived on the same ship. But definitely there is Jean doing Le Grand Recrue as well. So let's see when they get married, because they would have arrived in November of 1653. They were actually married a year later, October 13, 1654, about 11 months later. So I suspect they had to get to know each other. I suspect they didn't run off the boat and get married. But certainly it's a lovely thing to think about, that they met and began a slow courtship. And basically they were wed and were among the very first pioneers of Montreal. So we've talked a little bit about Montreal and how it came to be. It actually was started as a missionary center in 1642, and Paul de Chomedy, Sœur de Maisonneuve, was essentially the governor, and he became the founder. He was the founder and became the governor. And like I said, the Grand Recrue was his last-ditch effort to save the city, because at that time, Montreal was viewed as a fool's folly. In other words, Quebec and Three Rivers were well established. And they said to themselves, like, what are these people doing on an island? They're never going to go anywhere. Well, that is actually why they became what they became. There's another little island a little bit south of them that also became very important, New York City. And Montreal is very much like that. So it was actually because of its location and the fact that it could be a port and all of that eventually made it the strong powerhouse that it is. But at the very beginning, they were absolutely overrun with the threat of the Iroquois, and until the Carignan-Salieres soldiers came, Montreal was very much unprotected. Chomedy actually set up an army in 1663, and they had some of the habitants became part of the militia, and so, really were protecting the city. Jean and Catherine would move north to Charlebourg, where they would establish themselves. The origin of Charlebourg begins with the concession of the Seigneurie of Notre-Dame-des-Anges to the Jesuits in 1626. In 1665, the new intendant of justice, Jean Talon, set out to establish 3 new villages further north on the plateau. As you can imagine, this caused friction with the Jesuits. Now you can notice on the left side of your screen, on the upper left, how the Charlebourg and Bourg-Royal and Petit-Auvergne were laid out. They were laid out in a star shape, and in the middle of that star was a square, 5 arpents, which is about 3 miles, 3 acres, I should say, and it was reserved for the church, the presbytery, and the cemetery. And the homes of the settlers located, they kind of faced the church, so everybody was connected. It was obviously a way of controlling the population. And these are the only places. There's one other settlement in Alberta, I believe, but the layout is extremely rare. And you can see in the 1960s that it has retained that. That is how it is laid out. Eventually, a church would be formed here, Saint Charles de Borromée. We have the way the church looks now, and a depiction of it in 1696. In 1666, we have Jean Le Marchand. We have, and that's how he's called, habitant et menuisier, which is a machinist. Catherine Bureau, Marguerite Le Marché, Marie Le Marché, Jean Le Marché, these are their children. And we have Nicolas Regnault, a domestic who is engagé, who has come and probably is fulfilling a 3-year contract. In 1667, we have Jean and Catherine, and then we have Marguerite, Marie, Jean. They have 2 beasts and 3 arpents, about 1.5 acres of land, maybe 2 acres. End up having 10 children. Marguerite, their firstborn, would die at 1 year of age. Marguerite, their secondborn, would marry Mathurin Villeneuve in 1669 at the age of 12, and they would have 4 children, all of whom would make it to adulthood. Jean would die at 3 years of age. Marianne would die in infancy. Jean would also die in infancy. Anne would marry François Allard and have 8 children, all of whom would make it to adulthood. François' mother was Jeanne Languet, whom we profiled in episode 94. If this is your descendancy, please have a look at the series of books I recommended for the Allard branch. Marie Charlotte died at 4 years of age. Jean-Baptiste we have no more information on. Catherine would marry Nicolas Dutour and have 1 child who made it to adulthood. Marie-Madeleine would die at 14 years of age. Catherine would pass away in 1680. She was 40 years of age. She and Jean would have been married 35 years. She would have, as of 1729, 111 descendants. The census of 1681 shows Jean alone with his children who are left, Jean, Catherine, and Madeleine, and he has 5 goats. Jean and Catherine's remaining minor children would each find their own path. Jean-Baptiste would be hired out to André Demers, after which he would become a voyageur, but we do not have any further information on him. Catherine was hired to Charles Julier. She would leave that apprenticeship upon her marriage in 1695. Madeleine would remain in her apprenticeship until her death in 1691. As we follow Jean's life, we can only know his history through the contracts he would sign. In 1691, Jean would sell half of his property to his son-in-law, Mathurin Villeneuve, the husband of his eldest daughter, Marguerite. In 1695, when Catherine marries, he is not listed as deceased. By 1697, when Catherine gives her share of her mother's estate to her sister Anne, the father of both these individuals, i.e. Jean, is listed as deceased. So we may conjecture that he would have passed away sometime between 1695 and 1697. As always, I love to give you some resources so you can go and explore your roots even in greater depth. Généalogie Québec is one of those that I could not do what I do without it. It contains so much information. There's not just births and deaths and marriages. The other day I was using it for funeral cards and obituaries. Just amazing, amazing information that I was able to uncover. Please have a look at it. Even if you subscribe for 1 month, take that month and really do massive research, Lock yourself in a room if you have to. But use that Généalogie Québec. It really is worth its weight in gold. And so ends our episode 61, Catherine Hurault. I love this story of these two people coming on the same ship and establishing a life. And although her life was cut short, probably by childbirth, she still gave us 111 descendants, of which my viewer is one of them. So thank you to Catherine for all that she did in that short amount of time. We bless her memory, and we are grateful that she came to our shores. And I am also very thankful for my patrons and supporters. Without you, I don't think I would keep going, because it's just it's a very, very long project. And I'm on number 61, Les Filles Mariées out of 260, and then out of 700 in Les Filles du Roi, and I'm at 250, I think. So thank you for keeping me going and for just all the wonderful words of support and for, just absolutely supporting the channel. I really do appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much. Until I see you on episode 62 of Les Filles Mariées, au revoir.